Today is December 19th. We've got stuff to talk about. Recap the trades. What's next? What's next? What is next?
Now. Talking Yanks with old John Boy, Jake. Recaps galore, weekly awards, stat lines, theme, and hot takes. Get your Yankees news from these two fine dudes. It's time for Talkin' Yanks. Talking Yanks with old John Boy, and Jake. Talking Yanks with old John Boy, and Jake.
Hello and welcome to Talkin' Yanks, which is brought to you by SeatGeek. My name is Jimmy. His name is Jake. BBD in the corner, and we are talking Yanks. Jake, you weren't here for the belly reaction. You were at the Rockettes, and we haven't really talked about it off air to each other either. We spent yesterday recording guts all day, so I'm excited to catch up with you about that. How do you feel? How was the show?
James Davis, Rockettes is bizarre. I think it's for kids. It's a weird, I've been doing the Venn diagram. It's a weird mix of holiday spirit, which gets a lot of people, tradition, which gets a lot of people. I think there are some dudes there just to see, like, lady dancers. And then it's, like, for kids a lot. So it just hits a lot of notes.
I love this.
But, yeah, like, the dancing, like, wasn't complicated. The singing wasn't great.
I think it's for kids. I loved going as a kid. My sister
Yeah.
took all of her kids, and they loved it.
Yeah.
I was a little boy, and I went to look at the women. I used to just get a crush on one. I used to get a crush on one, and this was before I was 8, because we moved away from New York, but we were go. But I would just get a crush on one of the dancers, and I would just watch her like a creep the whole show. Like a 6-year-old creepy boy.
It's for kids, and
That's
if you
the
want
one
to
I'm
see
watching,
this,
Mama.
why don't you go to SeatGeek? Today's episode is sponsored by SeatGeek with over 28 million downloads. SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. They have more than 70,000 events every single day on the app, including sports, concerts, festivals, and more. I think we were just talking about the more. They rate every ticket on a scale of 1 to 10. If you're not about that lifestyle, if you hate numbers, they also do red means bad, green means good, yellow's in the middle. So whatever system you prefer, numbers, Roy G. Biv, SeatGeek has it. Yanks 15. That's going to get you 15% off your next order, off any tickets at SeatGeek. So what are you doing? You could use it now. You could use it later. Open up your phone. Open up the SeatGeek app or download it now. Code Yanks15. What are you waiting for?
I mean, not that the Rockettes are sponsoring the show. SeatGeek is. I just went to SeatGeek, and the Rockettes, dude, your math must have been a fun game.
Yeah.
They've got 4 shows on Thursday. On Friday, the 20th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Saturday, 5 as well.
Yeah, the closer you get to the holidays, the more shows they do, and the prices of the tickets go up. But, yeah, I was doing some Rockette math. And there's going to be math in this episode because we got to figure out some of the Yankees payroll stuff. But, yeah, it turns out someone's making a lot of money. Because at first I was like, they're making no money. Because there was like, dude, there's like 100 dancers.
Whoa.
And that's not even like production and all that stuff.
I just looked for one ticket for the Tuesday at 11 a.m. showing on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's some city BS.
if I want to sit 4th mez,
Right.
it's cheaper to sit 2nd row. Hurt that neck.
Yeah. So yeah, I got the tickets for free. It's a shout out. Because friends were coming into town and then they got sick, so now we got free. And it's like, okay, let's go see this historic show at 4:44 p.m. as I'm waiting outside Radio City Music Hall and the MLB building, which is right across the street. Passan drops the belly bomb. And yeah, it's kind of funny you're saying we haven't talked about it, but in a way we've talked about it a ton because it was one of the most obvious Yankee moves that's been connected for a couple years now.
Yeah, but the return. I don't know your thoughts on the return.
Right. We knew it'd be a dump. I mean, Cody Poteet, I mean, this is obnoxious offseason stuff, but loved him as a quadruple A call-up. But this was, like you said on the episode, essentially a Yankees free agent signing. Like, okay, you get Cody Bellinger for 1 to 2 years at $22.5 million or whatever it is. And it's going to be really interesting because if he balls out for a year, we're going to love Cody Bellinger, and he's going to hit free agency again and do whatever he wants. If he doesn't, that'll be even more interesting. But again, the flexibility of Cody Bellinger is fantastic. And I guess I'm just interested to see offensively, and I know this is where you ended last episode. Like, Cody Bellinger at this point of his career, I'm interested to see how much thump there's going to be. But the other thing that is nice that you talked about, like, he has a two-strike approach. When I've watched Cody Bellinger play on the Cubs, like, he's not afraid to, and it goes into some of those exit velo numbers. If there's a fastball away, and we've talked about this with a lot of Yankee hitters, like, just go with it, put the barrel on it, and as long as it's not right at a defender, that's going to be a hit. And that's what led to him having a really good batting average in 23, and, again, a solid batting average in 24 that – I think he's going to be a good player for us, and he can fill whatever hole is needed, and we still have holes remaining that we're going to talk about. But, I'm interested to see what the Yankees are thinking, and that was a big part of Boone's presser as they did the Max Fried announcement the other day, that they were like, it's fake news that Belly's just a center fielder, because that was reported early on. And that's where I think the Yankees are leaving their options open. I do think Belly is going to be there to play outfield primarily. Again, the versatility is great, and you'll see what else happens. I'm just going to be interested to see how the Yankees approach it, because both options are pretty good, Belly in center, Belly in left, if you're assuming that it's going to be him, Dominguez, and Judge. And I'm open to both sides of the argument. If you think Dominguez is going to stick for 5 years, maybe you throw him in left and just wash your hands and say, all right, figure it out, Dominguez. We're going to need you over there. If they think he can play center field, it's a pretty nice sandwich situation with Judge in right and Cody Bellinger in left field. It's like, hey, Dominguez, if you can't learn to play center field with these two around you, then you can't play center field.
A lot there. I want to backtrack to chew on, make sure everyone understands. Boone did say the Bob Nightingale report of him playing center field was not real, because we spent a good amount of time on our reaction. Like, why would they say that? Yeah. What is that for? And then going back even further, what you're talking about, the swing of Cody Bellinger, I didn't realize. I knew he had a resurgence. I didn't realize he changed his swing as much as he did. He went from a swing only guy, and there's those, who was the he was on the field for the Yankees when they won in 2009.
Jerry Hairston.
Yes, he called Belly out in that video and was like, dude, you're athletic, like, be athletic. Right. And so now he's got a contact oriented swing where he two-strike approach, slower bat. That was interesting when we went over that, and the more I realized that's his offensive profile from the left side, and the pop might be there with the stadium. Seemed like his Cubs numbers were just wind dependent. And I know the Cubs had a bad wind year, which is funny to say because it sounds like such junk. But we've heard from players that, like, yeah, the wind was like really against us a lot.
Yeah.
And at that stadium,
it is a thing there.
Yeah. Ian Happ has said on the record that he's like, I try to get through April hitting like 250 and up.
You could get like a turbo boosted, or you could get against.
The power numbers could not be there. Like, April at Wrigley is just a nightmare. And there's balls, and I know every now and then they pop up, whether it's on Savant or whatever. But when you end up doing like the exit velo game, like a ball hit with this velo at this angle, blah, blah, blah. And there's going to be a few of those every year at Wrigley that you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. Well, when the Yankees played, there was no home runs in the 3 games there, remember? Everything was hit to the warning track and died.
Yeah.
Like Judge and Stan hit Stan hit one that was like gone at every stadium. So, but realizing he's not Pop is the big thing that I'm like, that's a bummer. I thought he had more. He could potentially add more at the stadium. But the more I've thought about it, yesterday I was with my brother-in-law, we were talking baseball and like who else is out there, like who's the rest of the options. It goes back to what I opened the reaction to. I was like, the Yankees needed to do this. There is no lefty.
Yeah.
First base, outfield, corner, second base, like real free agents there's trades harder to do when you have to give up prospects, not just money. Like not many teams were going to take on the money like the Yankees were. So they didn't really they weren't fighting like prospect packages and stuff like that. So the more I'm like, oh, it's a bummer. It's not as much power as I originally thought. But when we look at the next moves, thank God we got Belly, man, and his versatility.
Yeah, and like let's see a little bit. A lefty at Yankee Stadium who he does, if you look at where his home runs were, the majority of them is pull. So there can be a Yankee Stadium effect. And in 23, he had a 525 slugging in last year where, again, it's the great game of chicken of what is going to be next for Cody Bellinger. But he had a 426 slug, which, again, if you're looking to replace Soto, and that I think with the Yankees' remaining moves, that's what we're going to find out. Are they just going to be like, because like you said, there's not a ton of pop options out there, especially pop options that fit the Yankees. Like
pop options is fun to say.
Pop options, if you will.
Pop options.
Jock Peterson doesn't fit. DH spot is clogged. Need outfielders that can cover some ground. Santander, LOL, same. I'm wondering if the Yankees' next moves are going to be, hey, we can't fix this, so let's get a defensive team that everyone kind of has a contacty bat, and that's where I fell in love with Nathaniel Lowe. There's been trade rumors around him. Brandon Lau is the only guy that has, like, true pop, like, if this guy's healthy, you can get 30. I think, we'll get ready for our Cody Bellinger PPP, but his over-under for home runs next year for the Yankees should probably be, like, 22 and a half.
I'm looking at a spray chart now for home games last year
at
Yankee Stadium, and then I watched some of the videos, and he according to raw data, but then I did just watch some, not all of them. He would have added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to right field.
Yeah,
and I watched them, and they look like that would have went.
Yeah, no, the spray chart for any time we bring a lefty over at Yankee Stadium looks pretty good. I guess I'm just interested to see in his approach because, again, Wrigley changes, and we've seen him, like you said, Jerry Harrison called him out. Remember, Bellinger's batting stance used to be, like, bored and boring, yes. And it was like, okay, break your hands, like, start up a whole, like, the pitch is coming, now get into a hitterish stance. That now he stands hitterish, and it's been working for him the past 2 years. So, I'm excited for that, and, hey, with all the different other rumored players to come in with the Yankees, 130 games, only 89 strikeouts for Bellinger. Like, it is a contact approach.
I like that too.
And I'm excited to see what that looks like. Like, is it a swing, 2 strikes, I get a contact swing, or is it, are there some at bats, and is it a matchup where he's going contact swing, or there's runners in scoring position, like, let me get an RBI and hit a single. Very interested to see, and that's always one of the fun, exciting parts of bringing in a new Yankee. How do they play ball?
How do they play ball? I was on a mission to find exactly what you're talking about right there. Is he 2-strike changing? What's different? He is pretty straight up still. So I wonder if he just slowed down mechanics, because I'm looking at last year, and he's still pretty straight up. He's almost more bent the other way.
Yeah, but he used to be flat. He used to be bored.
Yes.
Now he's but
it's not hunched at all. It's just who am I thinking of? No one knows.
No one knows.
No one's ever known. When was that when Harrison called him out? 2021?
Around then. Probably the end of his Dodger struggles.
Okay. All right. Well, anything else on Belly, I think?
I would just I teed this up for you a little bit. If I was the Yankees, I think they're going to address infield at this point. I do think Belly is here to play outfield. It's nice to have the first base option, but there are first base options available.
He'll play some number of first base innings this year. But
I'm currently leaning put Belly in left, Judge in right, and have Dominguez in center and see if he can figure that out. Because center field is easier than left field. And I don't know how bought in the Yankees are on Dominguez. It seems this offseason that they're more like, hey, if we can't fill every need like the old Yankees, having Jason Dominguez as a starter going into next year is exciting and kind of deserved. That I like the idea of him being sandwiched in between two potential Gold Glovers. Like, go and get balls. Don't have to worry about the wall in left. Kind of the weird dimensions over there. But I also see the concept of, like, Cody Bellinger's played a lot of center field. He's good out there. And Dominguez just learn left field because we need it for half a decade.
Yes. You're asking me a question?
What would
there?
you do? Yeah.
I don't think you know yet. I don't think the Yankees have any. I think it depends on who they get.
But these are your outfielders. The Yankees are going to sign a first baseman and a second baseman. Those are your outfielders. Dominguez, Judge, Belly. What do you do?
I don't know. I don't know enough about Dominguez. Like, they know way more. I would go watch the minor league Dominguez in left field. I think that Dominguez should play left and center. So I don't know how that works. I would think the kid needs reps at both. I don't want anyone that gets shoehorned in one position. Okay. Like spring training, that's Dominguez should have equal reps left and center. And that maybe helps you make a decision. But let's not make anyone not be able to play a position.
Yeah, they're just not gonna.
I think they'll do that. I think they'll get them equal reps in spring training.
Equal reps?
I guess it's easy
easy
enough to say, like,
just half the games.
The days that it's Trent Grisham in center, Belly's at first this day, or Jones
I think there's a
DHing,
chance Belly's still at first, too.
Dominguez
I think the Yankees truly don't know.
Yeah. I just think there's so many more available options that fit the Yankees at first base than left field and center field.
Yeah, I think they're going to wait and let things happen. And, like, I think they're comfortable putting Belly in at first if the way this offseason goes, which we'll talk about.
If an outfield situation falls into their lap.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what we're going to get into. We'll talk about the first base options, which there's a ton of, and kind of a pecking order. But first, Hims. Today's episode is sponsored by Hims. Guys, ever feel like you need a little boost in the bedroom? It's time to stop worrying about your performance and get Hims. So you can feel confident knowing you can get it up and keep it up whenever you're in the mood. Hims is changing men's healthcare by providing you with access to affordable sexual health treatments from the comfort of your couch. The process is 100% online, so there's no need for uncomfortable doctor's visits. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/yanks. That's HIMS.com/yanks for your personalized ED treatment. Products mentioned are chewable compounded products which are not approved by or verified for safety or effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan. Thank you, Hims. All right, what now? We did some math on the show, and Beeb's got a bang-up Google sheet going that said they're $6 million away from hitting the Cohen tax, right? Or the 300 tax? Not the Cohen tax, the highest one.
Cohen tax is the highest threshold that we've educated guessed is the number they are looking to not exceed, which is $301 million.
What were that last year? 300?
They were over it last year, but you assume in an offseason where you lost Soto, payroll's not going to increase on the whole. When Hal mentioned hoping to decrease payroll.
The big thing is not being over it 3 years, so they can go over it this year a little bit, but that means that next year they're going to get under.
Yeah, I think 21 they went under, right? Because that was the year.
Yeah, so if they go over it this year, that's 2 years. Once you go over it 3 years in a row, you're taxed like 70 cents on every dollar over.
Yes, but isn't it? They went over in 22, 23, 24, so they've done 3 years.
Oh, they went over in 22?
I believe so. I guess I don't know for sure on that, but either way,
I didn't think they went over the Cohen tax. I thought no one but Cohen went over it the year.
Well, going over the luxury tax as a whole, you get.
Yeah, but there's
penalized.
4 thresholds.
Cohen tax they didn't go over, no.
There was 3 thresholds, and they added a higher one for Cohen.
That he doesn't care about.
Yeah. So they still have to get money off the books to spend more money. I think they'll go over it a little bit, but Hal did say he wants payroll to stay around the same. So Cash is going to have to dump more money in trades or whatever to bring more people in. Stroman's the obvious one because he's making $18.5 million. If you can trade him somewhere and have a team pick up 10 of it. That helps you. All of it.
Yeah, I don't think you need to. I think it actually probably gets close to Cody Bellinger. Like I said Stroman on the open market would be probably a 13 to 15 mil type pitcher for 1 year. Now he has the vesting option, but teams can dance around that pretty easily. That I don't know. I could see it being very similar to Belly, where it's like, hey, the Yankees have to pick up like $2.5 million or something of that nature, or the dream deal that would be some cash god work, which I think BBD said Joel Sherman gets the assist on this. I originally, in my offseason plans, had the Yankees flipping Trent Grisham for a lefty reliever, because the whole value prop there is if you're going to play Trent Grisham, you can get a 2-3 WAR outfielder pretty easily the way he plays defense. That if you have a reliever in your bullpen making some money for a team like the Marlins or the Royals or teams that operate on a different monetary scale, getting an outfielder that can give you 100, 120 games compared to a reliever that you could call up a guy from the minors and pay him the minimum, and you have a lefty reliever making 3 or 4 mil, that would be a better fit on the Yankees. I thought the Yankees would address something that way. I think it was interesting. They said Stroman could be flipped for someone like Taylor Rogers, one of the lefty freak twins in San Francisco Giants bullpen, that he's making good money for a reliever, that the Yankees could address their need for a high-end lefty reliever, flip Stroman, end up making money on the deal. The Giants get more innings. Maybe you have to sweeten the pot in some direction, but you can address another need that way. Either way, I think we were feeling pretty good with this offseason that we were like, wait, nobody else wants Cody Bellinger. The Yankees need Cody Bellinger. This is going to happen. Max Fried is an audible from Soto. The Stroman dump, and there's some other tea leaves on the internet right now of some of the tweets and stuff he's getting involved in. It feels like there's a Stroman trade coming, because that is really the only way to open up the board.
Yeah, you have to do it. I think it's just who teams know that. I don't think they're going to take on all the money. I am interested. You say like he
right,
get 13 on
we
open
just
mill?
did this with Cody.
What do you mean?
We were kind of sitting here like, wait, Cody's the only team.
Yeah, but the Yankees paid like all of it.
Right. That's what I'm saying with Stroman.
Yes, but I don't know if a team like Cody's going to a winner who wants. I don't think Stroman's going to go to a winning team. I think it's going to be much more like the Chase Headley trade, where you package a reliever with Stroman and they actually are paying for the prospect.
I mean, Nestor, like, how far off is it from that? I know the money's different, but like Milwaukee's trying to compete next year. They're throwing him in their rotation. Like,
the Mets are trying to win the World Series. They signed Juan Soto. They gave Frankie Montas the same deal Stroman has right now, and he was worse than Stroman last year, statistically.
So, like, yeah, Stroman, you look at the baseball card, and, I mean, he's done it for a long time. He doesn't have the high-end potential that a team probably thinks they can tap into with Montas, but it's very much similar to Nestor in the fact that other teams need to figure out how to get their innings, and you can pretty much bank on Marcus Stroman to give you around that 140 at around a 4 ERA. If I was a team that had good defense, dude, I would be all over this. Remember all the clips of the Yankees hurting Stroman?
Yeah, it was crazy. But
like
also,
when he was on the Chicago Cubs with Nico Horner and Dansby Swanson and Ian Happ and Cody Bellinger.
Great first
That's
half.
when he was at his best.
Is he a tale of bad second halves the last couple of years?
I know the last Cubs year he had like a oblique or hamstring injury or something that kind of nagged him the rest of the year, and he missed some time. So that was that second half at least. Yeah, I mean, obviously he's always been a ground ball guy. So if you're a team with good defense, I think you can believe in that being a very nice stabilizer for you.
I was searching and hunting for teams to trade Stroman to and get something back yesterday, especially if you package a prospect. They need to find a bat. I know you have Brandon Lau, but I don't know if the Rays will trade with the Yankees. It's kind of like the Astros had a Yankees tax, and the Rays might also have a Yankees tax there.
I think a little bit, but also that was like the Houston's ownership from what we heard, where I think the Rays are told you can.
Well, just be smart.
They operate how they have to operate.
Yeah.
Rortvet, you know?
Rortvet.
Rays
They had no
operate so
catcher.
differently, they kind of like don't care.
What was that little smile?
The Rays had no catcher.
Yeah.
Rortvet played. Did he play well for them throughout the year? I know he started well.
He slowed down.
Yeah. Overall, numbers are better than we would have guessed for the season, but
He really slowed down, yeah.
I think it's still better than we would have guessed for the season.
So say they can get all 13 mil from a team. That would leave them 5 mil still on the books for Stroman. If you're saying that like comparable pitchers are getting,
You're
13,
having the Yankees eating 5 mil.
yes,
Sure.
like that stays on the books.
Yeah.
That would give them 11 to the tax. It's still, you don't want to go, they're not going to want to go over this tax by a lot because you get taxed every dollar over. I think like around 20 mil is around what they would spend. Like that's where my gauge would be. They'd go put 20 more on the AAV this year and then try to also utilize a trade because they haven't, I mean, they gave up Nestor and Durbin. Durbin wasn't a top prospect. They kind of talked that into fruition.
He was high rising.
Yeah, high rising.
The
Had
Arizona
a really good
I was his
year.
biggest fan.
I didn't know. I talked to people in the baseball community a little bit. The Arizona Fall League is like highly respected because it's every team's like top prospect.
Yeah.
So like what Durbin did there and his like walks to strikeouts. If you took out the fact he's listed 5'6", Caleb Durbin would be like a very legitimate
I started
prospect.
the Durbin hype.
You started that.
Yeah. I wanted him to start in my plan. Well, anyway, they still have prospects that they can move, not for high end, but like if they wanted to go get a better bench option, someone versatile, someone they think they can bank on upside in the outfield or infield, or I still think like they could be having Trent Grisham for less money unless they plan on starting him a lot. He's not really a bench player.
Yeah, I mean he's not a good bench player. I think we saw that, but I think we did see him be like a good insurance policy.
He's a good I'll start for a stretch, but as
if you
using him off the bench.
If you need 6 weeks, like Trent's a pretty solid option.
Yeah. This is going to piss some people off. If you have a true bench player who is never getting run as a starter,
Right.
but is going to come off the bench in games, someone like Tyler Wade, I value higher because he's got speed, he's got infield, outfield.
He's going to do his thing no matter what.
Yeah.
He's going to have a
I'm not saying to go
70
trade for
OPS
I'm not going
plus,
to trade
yeah.
for him, but I'm just saying like Grisham is great. Like you're saying, if he was in AAA and then we called him up
Right.
and he started, I'd be like, yeah, that's good. But
I guess
it's a lot of money for.
Yeah, I guess the thing with Trent Grisham is if you trade him, and again, if there's something that fits, you don't hesitate. But if you get rid of Trent Grisham, you do have to replace Trent Grisham with someone similar to Trent Grisham. That's what I had Michael A. Taylor in my original offseason plan, defensive outfielder bench guy. Michael A. Taylor was bad last year. He was really good the year before that. So, but
You'd have to trade.
it kind of turns into the Trevino thing for me. That like, hey, if we could move on from Jose Trevino and get another catcher, although the catcher market is showing that Trevino actually might be still a valuable asset. Like if you get rid of Trent Grisham, you have to replace Trent Grisham with a Trent Grisham.
Well, you could replace him with someone who's not as far down in arbitration, so the money's going to be lower.
You'd have
Like
to trade for it.
Another team's quadruple a outfielder that's not making $7 million, making
Right.
the $600,000 or whatever it is.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if that exists either. They're very hard
Right.
to search for those people.
And again, like Trent Grisham is semi-proven at the MLB level.
Yeah,
Where like that
Well-
player, I don't know how far the player that we're making up right now is far off from Everson Pereira.
I think there's a team out there that should go get Grisham and start him, and I think he would add value to that team as a starter.
Right. Yeah, they just have to agree. I mean, originally I had them trading Grisham to the Marlins, and they need anything for one of their relievers. And that something like that could still very easily be on the table, but
Could they dump DJ anywhere?
they might like Grisham. I don't think so. The only like dream
15 mil for DJ.
would be the Rockies are kind of You'd have to pay all of it. Like
You'd have
you
to-
can get off of DJ, but you almost have to
You'd be
pay
clear-
every dollar.
Yeah,
It's like, can you clear $5 million of it off of? your
or you
books?
do it like literally package a top prospect,
Right.
which I don't want them to do
It's
that.
just not worthwhile.
Yeah.
I would. The roster spot thing gets crazy because even if the Yankees called up the Rockies and said, "Hey, you want?" DJ has a no trade clause.
Cashman never mentioned
He has no
DJ
trade
when he answered those questions at all. He said Durbin is right now the front runner for second base, but if we sign an infielder, we have flexibility because Jazz can play third or second. Never mentioned him once, which you agree with at this point.
I do think, and maybe it's similar to the Durbin situation, we're talking it up because you don't believe in it, and that might be rude to say, but I think in Cashman's comments after the Devin Williams trade, he did mention DJ among the group at second. But
Did he mention Cabrera?
yes,
Did he mention Peraza?
yes,
The big three.
Vivas?
I think he did.
I think Jorbit.
Then
did
I
get
don't.
him.
Then nothing matters.
I don't disagree that nothing matters. I just know
He just
said
literally listed everyone
name.
he could think of. Like I just did.
everyone that
Everyone
can
on the 40
literally
man.
do
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
on the 40 man, and I can play you at second base.
I think it's Stroman, and then I think the Yankees are going to find a way to add 2 like 10 million type players. There was some Paul Goldschmidt smoke, which all of us kind of had the realization.
There
like,
was?
oh yeah.
Yes.
Who was blowing it?
Mostly Hubs, which he was kind of first on Belly. So I think
Goldschmidt makes
he's
sense.
talking.
Goldschmidt
It just
makes
fits
sense.
everything the Yankees do. It leaves like the slightest window for Ben Rice. It gives Goldie like the veteran 1 year. If it lands around 10 mil, that
Judge likes.
Judge likes. Then basically if something like that were to happen, or let's say it's Carlos Santana, in that same ballpark, if the Stroman dump of sorts happens, you'd essentially have 10 mil, and that's Jorge Polanco in free agency. That's a Brandon Lau trade. That's another player we're missing.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
And maybe it's not a question. Maybe it's a statement.
Nice. It'll depend on the end of the sentence.
More of a statement. I remember now. BBD was deep into Joel Sherman's
Yeah, he is.
autobiography.
It's all he's reading.
What are you listening to?
I've caught a couple episodes of his show.
I love Joel Sherman.
I thought
I
it
listen to
was.
Joel.
What's the
I listened to a baseball book on tape last night to fall asleep. New York baseball. It was actually pretty good. I was interested in it. It's so pro New York.
I thought it was
That's
Joel
right.
Sherman's book on Lamaze.
Ooh, he a great Lamaze partner.
Fantastic.
Does it in his spare time. He said, and which I really agree, and I've thought about more, is like the Yankees right now are going to just sit back and enjoy that breeze. Nickel-size person in a blender. And I agree, because there's so many dominoes to fall. Like, I don't think they want the top first baseman option. I don't think they want Alonso because of the money situation.
Yeah, they're kind of unless Hal has snapped and he hates Steve Cohen, and like there is a 5% window if there's ever a year for Hal to snap. They just saw World Series revenue. Steve Cohen's being a jerk bag to us. Like if there's ever a year for the Hal snap to happen, it could be this year. I'm no leaning or belief in that, but
And I don't think they're going to be they're not going to be in any bidding wars. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
So
Because
for these
they
guys,
acted quick.
because
on
they acted
Belly
quick.
and
unless it's
Freed
with
and
Cohen.
Williams.
The Alonso.
No.
No one's talking about the Polar Express.
It's also
in
the
Bronx.
years. They're not going to sign anyone for 5 years like Bregman or Alonso. I think the years and the money, it's too much now. And so I think they're in a good position. They sit back, they see what moves happen, and then maybe that'll take people out of trade windows, right? If someone's trying to trade for infielder, outfielder, and then Teoscar and Santander sign, and then there's less teams in the trading pool. So I do agree with that assumption that we might be, especially through holidays, but I think, end of January might be when we start perking back up, because I think there's going to be middle January, hopefully, other stuff dropping.
I see them doing that with one move. I think we're going to get one move soon. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if a Goldie dropped or like the Santana or whatever that is. And then I think you fully wait for it to simmer and you say, hey, we don't know if Jazz, we think Jazz is going to hit and steal bases, second base, third base. We can be flexible there. Let's see how it all sorts out.
I also think that they might, much likely they do one move, maybe two, but there's going to be a move that happens during spring. A Talkin trade for the fourth outfielder-esque,
Every year
a
they've
Birdie
done.
trade. They might say, hey, well, let's wait out spring, rosters, injuries, needs, and then we can finish the final roster there if they're looking for a cheaper trade piece of that caliber and that sort.
They've done an very end of spring ad
A ton.
last 5 years.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the Yankees have a meeting with Roki Sasaki, so.
They just green screen the whole building. We're in California.
Green screen the whole building.
Yeah. Welcome. This is actually
Fake to
California.
fake.
Look, that's the ocean. Sasaki says, I'm not dumb. You've insulted me. I'm out.
Hey, your guy Sugano, who signed with Baltimore, and we're debating doing a new segment that we're going to end shows with. What do we say? A minute where we just rip into teams?
Yeah, what did I call it? Eat shit? No, I didn't call it shit on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't think
Final 5 minutes. Let's shit on them.
The rumor was in a world of dreaming of meetings and stuff mattering. They said Sugano, no ties to the Orioles, no ties to Baltimore, but he just loved talking pitching with them. So that's why he signed. So hey.
Sorry.
Come on, Roki.
I'm out on
Matt
Sugano
Blake.
because of the one trade.
I think we'd like him. Though.
I think I'd love him.
I think we'd love him. He's a corroder. But maybe he likes playing baseball?
No, I'm
So he's
not out on the
corroding.
guy. I'm out
Right.
on talking about him until I see him play.
Right.
Sure.
Because no one talked about him forever. And then all of a sudden they're like, here you go. He's a guy.
Same birth date as Jake.
Yeah, same
Hell
exact
yeah.
day.
Gio Urshela.
89.
Oh, wow.
Same.
10, 11, 89.
We've lived the
What
same
time?
life. I'm around 10:30 a.m., I believe. I'm not sure about Sugar.
I think I'm 8:30
Japan
at
time.
night. Hey, I got something for you. And this is from the first segment of the
So
show.
maybe we weren't born the same day.
Nah,
know what I'm saying?
date of the calendar of the place. Because Luke's
Was
birthday.
that 10-10 here?
Luke, my brother was born in Australia. It was not that day
Right.
in New York. But you don't do that. I Googled Cody Bellinger baseball reference, those words exactly.
Nice. I do that.
During the
You
first
know I do
segment.
that.
And then on the top right, it said Cody Bellinger, public figure. And I was like, well, he's a baseball player. He's a public figure. One can become, well, you can become the other, but you also can't.
Right.
And I was like, is that what they say for everyone? And then I Googled Aaron Judge baseball and it says Aaron Judge, American baseball outfielder. So what is it that makes Cody Bellinger a public figure?
He's in LA.
He's in the eye of the
LA?
public, yeah. If you click on that, it says Cody Bellinger, American baseball outfielder.
Okay.
Interesting.
Plot thickens.
I click on the Aaron Judge when it says Jake sucks.
Guffaw.
Looking at the list of first basemen, okay? If I'm looking at that, and that's what I'm doing, I have some sneaky thoughts.
Give me those sneaky thoughts.
Here's a sneaky thought I had. If everything goes the way they do,
Still a sneaky thought. Right
it's sneaky. If everything just falls and they don't get Alonso, Walker,
Right.
Goldie,
Okay.
and we get Santana for $8 million,
Yeah.
switch hitter, Gold Glove at first,
Right.
I'd be like, not bad. But then I'd still be searching, where's the pop?
Where is the pop? You need pop from first base or second base.
23 home runs last year for Santana.
And he crushed lefties. So, on those days, you'd have the pop you're looking for.
He's old as can be.
Old as can be, and being good at baseball. But
his Instagram name, his Twitter name, The Real Slamtana.
I'll almost there's a positive.
I didn't
spin.
know that.
There's a positive spin here. If he did it at 39, his body's already old.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That he's used to that, and some inside sources from Trevor Plouffe, who was teammates with Carlos Santana, I believe on the Phillies briefly, Trev was shocked to find out Olivia and his wife, Trev's wife Olivia and Carlos Santana's wife talk regularly, and Trev was like, "What?"
It's one of the lives she's like still very much in touch with.
That sources say that Trev's wife heard from his wife. He's willing to play baseball as long as he's getting paid. So,
if they pay, we play.
Manny Ramirez. Not bad. Who do you think hit more home runs over the last 2 years combined? Carlos Santana, Christian Walker, or Paul Goldschmidt?
I would say Christian Walker.
That would be your pick?
Yeah.
What if I did Goldie's entire career?
What's crazy when you Google Carlos Santana, American guitarist is listed as his.
But then you click it and it says
American guitarist.
Christian Walker, 59 homers last 2 seasons. Okay, what about Goldie and Santana? Who had more pop last 2 years combined?
That's
now
tight.
that's something.
That's tight. I would lean Goldie.
It's a good,
by like 2 homers.
good leaning.
Yeah,
It's Goldie by 1 homer.
okay.
20 or 47 for Goldie, 46 for Santana over the last 2 years.
Spend a decent amount of time on both players.
Okay, so switch hitting Gold Glover Santana,
Right.
or Goldie, who's not a switch hitter.
Right.
And has he won a Gold Glove?
The reputation's good, but don't know if
I don't think he did.
gotten one.
I don't think he did.
4 Gold Gloves.
Okay. It's a legend.
Holy shit, Santana and Walker in the last 2 years have the exact same amount of plate appearances, 1,213.
Kind of nuts.
It's really nuts. That means all their stats are like very comparable. That's not even at bats. That's plate appearances.
Plate appearance. Times at the dish.
That's crazy.
It's cool.
It is cool. 14 more hits for Walker. Yeah. Okay, so that's first base. They've got to get a first baseman.
Yes.
Like the second player, it doesn't have to be an outfielder because they can run with Judge, Belly, the Martian, which I kind of want them to do if they get a first baseman.
Kind of have to.
Yeah.
Kind of have to see what
First
you have
base
in the Martian.
options.
There's a chance where they trade for a center fielder like Luis Robert or someone else because there's available guys that can play that don't make a ton of money. I mean, Robert makes a lot, but you know what I mean? And Belly plays first and Martian plays third. But I have the Martian in the starting 9.
Yeah.
No matter who they get, I have him in the. I think they should do it.
If an outfielder is what falls into their laps, you would have Belly going to first as like the A lineup.
Yes.
Max Fried ensured that you have to start one of the rookies, and that rookie is Dominguez.
Yeah. That's what I think. But I would not be shocked if we go into spring training and they signed a first baseman. They haven't added an outfielder because they have their 3 that we talked about with Grisham on the bench, and they didn't add a infielder because they have Jazz, and then they have Oswaldo Peraza in spring at second, and then they're searching for second baseman.
The final team.
Yeah.
Who did they just flip someone to?
Yeah, I could see them leaving second base. I guess I've gotten caught up in the daydreams of we dreamt of some really good left side of the infield between like Bregman, Volpe, or even the Arenado whispers that it was like, wait, if Jazz is at second and we get a Goldie or Carlos Santana. And again, I guess the weird part for me is that this is a Yankee hurdle. If you told me Jazz was going to be at second and Waldo and Peraza were going to fight for third, that would almost get me more hype because I like both of them at third.
Yeah. You don't want more pop.
I mean, I do.
Okay.
I do. And that's
Because
where
third's a position that should out homer second.
once it's on your team, I don't care.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know what I'm
just
saying?
want homers.
Yeah.
Getting homers at one of those
once it's
two.
on the same roster, I don't care. And hey, man, maybe Maybe the Yankee beer goggles we need to put on is like, hey, Jazz hit 24 homers last year. In a full year at Yankee Stadium, that could be 30. Cody Bellinger's coming over to Yankee Stadium. In a full year, that could be 30. That maybe the Yanks are just like, hey, one of them probably goes off next year, but it's scary. Because you need contributors in the bottom of the lineup. If you're gonna do that.
There's 5 free agents that play second base or third base that are 28 years old. So that used to be like prime window. Now it's probably more like 26 to 30, not 28 to 32. But I really don't know.
The way they get treated as free agents, yeah.
Well, and
physically, I think it's still those ages.
Can you name them?
28 years old?
Yeah, you know the ages of players?
Glaber.
Really.
Glaber.
He's a good one.
He's 28. Brendan Rodgers.
Huge.
Abraham Toro. Luis
Toro.
Urias.
Toro.
Why don't they invite Luis Urias to camp?
You might.
Plays every infield position.
Hey, I know I originally pushed this in my original plans. Jorge Polanco. I know he doesn't play good defense at short. Switch hitter. He's coming off a down year, but it was very Seattle. Like, Jorge Polanco is a guy that's hitting the top of lineups. So that's where I really liked him. Like, if this is where the lineup is going to land, like Jorge Polanco coming in as your 7 hitter, like there's a chance he could slide up at some point and be your 5 or be your 3. So I don't know. The Yankees, there's options. That's the good news, and it is going to be interesting to see how long they wait it out.
You want to get Jose Iglesias and just become the Mets?
Jose Iglesias. That feels dirtier than Pete to me. That's dirtier than
I think they'd break his spirit. You know when, like, if you went to a rodeo and you saw a horse in, like, the freestyle competition that was doing, like, interpretive dance, and then another owner comes and we're like, no, we're just going to straight race you. No music, no flair. Yanks aren't playing his song. I'm not against that the Mets did it. I like their new identity for themselves. Yanks aren't, like, singing his song.
When he comes up to hit,
yeah,
that's on him.
It can't do it.
But I think Jose Iglesias would quit the team before the Yankees break him. Like, think about where he's at in life. He's 35. He's got a hit song.
No, thanks.
Like, he would just literally, like, walk off.
He should have released another song by now, right?
It's coming.
Okay.
Okay,
Luis Guillermo
on that.
Beard.
I'm just naming Mets infielders.
Hey, the 3 years before this for Jorge Polanco, before he got to Seattle, that everyone talks about being awful to hit in.
Ahmed Rosario.
Yanks liked him before.
They did like him before. That's true. He chose not to go.
Righty, no pop.
They like righty, no pop for a little bit. They're obsessed with it. Joey Wendell's available.
At this point, I just want them to find a little bit more of an identity. Like, are you guys going to play defense, or are you going to give yourself real hitting options?
Defense.
I'm open to that. We're going to pitch a lot, play some defense, make Judge carry.
I believe in Jazz. I believe in Wells. It's positive time.
Cook.
I believe in Belly adding homers. I believe in Dominguez.
Could.
Jose Iglesias does have other songs. Not nearly as many listens
since that one.
I don't have release dates in front of me, but like his Spotify page has other songs.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Candelita. That's his stage name.
Outfield's got nothing.
Yeah.
That's why they needed Belly.
That's why I think that's why the Yanks came out to say that, oh, Belly's not our outfielder, but Belly's their outfielder. Because there's so many first base options, there's no outfield options.
There are, but like not that what they need.
They don't fit us. Really.
Jesse Winker.
And it doesn't fit us.
Another guy that they'd force to play right field, and Judge has to go somewhere else.
Max Kepler.
That one did. It got a head tilt out of me the other day because how much the Yankees have liked him. But, yeah, I mean, then Belly is at first. So, that one wouldn't surprise me, but I think we'd all be like,
Dylan Carlson.
It's BBD's guy.
26 years old.
I think look at him if they do trade Grisham at some point.
Okay.
He will be cheaper than Trent's $5 million. So I've got him. Only name I've heard when we try to play the who would replace Trent Grisham game in the.
What about a guy who plays first base and outfield and doesn't share a birthday with you, but shares a first name and just got cut by the Brewers and
Bring back Bowers?
Doesn't hit that well. But looks like Ryan Ruocco.
A little bit. What about it?
I don't know. How much is Ramon Laureano going to sign for? Like, sign him for $1 million. Why'd they give Grisham $5 million?
I think Laureano's going to get.
Really? On Fangraphs, he doesn't even get projected money.
He 67 games with Atlanta last year, 832 OPS.
Mike Talkman got 1 year, $1.95 million, and Fangraphs has Grichuk projected to do worse. Has Laureano projected to do worse than Talkman?
Talkman.
Connor Joe, first baseman, outfielder, fun name, new look.
A lot of hair.
Mix it up. I think they're going to wait a while. I think they're going to wait for Alonso and Christian Walker to sign. That takes teams out of trades. If they still like Yandy, who's a good option for trade for. If they like anyone on the Rays to trade or any trade out there, I think that's, as Yankee fans, you got to wait out Alonso and Walker to sign elsewhere, and then the market shifts a little, and then the Yankees poke their heads back up.
They filled a lot of holes acting quick on Fried, Belly, Devin Williams, that now they can, I think they will kind of wait for something to come to them. Or they
Max
sign
Fried, no
Goldie
mustache.
tomorrow.
Why'd he shave it? He could have a mustache, Max. Wellesley has one.
Getting his picture
kind of
taken
like an Orlando. He was like an Orlando. It was like an Orlando Bloom mustache that Fried had. I liked it. Final words.
There. Subscribe.
Go Yanks. Tell them, Grams.
Go Yankees.
When you Google Max Fried mustache, my video comes up. It's my face as the first image.